have you been? Never mind that. Do you have the Mayan stone?
Maybe I have, but,
Don't argue, Andre. Give the stone to George.
well, of course. If you say so, Nicole.
Tá.
Thank you so much, Andre.
George, he told me you'd been kidnapped, my dear.
Já apareceu o
I'm glad
espelho
to see you
fumante?
were
Ainda não,
mistaken.
mano.
Oh, but it was true. If it hadn't been for George, I wouldn't be here now.
It's not finished yet. Karzak's thugs will be back for that stone, you can bet. The best lead that we have is Coromonte City.
Coromonte is in Central America. That's where Ubier gets his artifacts.
That's all we needed to know. Come on, George.
Alguns dias depois, a gente vai pra América Central.
Claramonte,
Oh!
the traveler's rear entrance to Central America. Well, that's how it's translated in the
Buguei.
brochure. We didn't know what we were looking for, but the offices of Condor Trans Global seemed a good place to start.
Eita. Tá, aqui eu lembro o que tem que fazer. A gente tem que bater nessa cabra e matar ela.
Hey, it's market day. I don't see any cabs. Let's ask someone how
Mentira,
to get to
gente.
Paramonte City.
O cara tá com
Keep
sede de
your eyes
sangue.
peeled for any sign of Condor Trans Global.
Rani Luiz, socorro. Por que Rani Luiz, cara? Não é a Rani Luiz, não. Deixa eu salvar, né? Oh, quanta porcentagem tá? Eita, quase na metade. Tamo quase na metade, quase 50 por foda-se. Fala com o meu mano guarda aqui. Eu tô com a minha calcinha ainda, se Deus quiser, né?
Thanks. Can we get a cab to the capital?
This is the capital, Guaramonte City.
Ah, deixa eu perguntar do bar.
When's the next ship out of here?
But senor, don't you like our beautiful country?
É, gosto.
Oh yeah, it's like a little piece of paradise right here on Earth.
Then why you wanna leave?
I'm just plain homesick, like it says in the song.
A word of warning, senor. If you feel like bursting into song, bite your tongue.
Huh?
There are official restrictions on music in Guaramonte.
Caralho, não pode cantar em Quaramonte, mano.
How come music is restricted in Claramonte?
It is part of a great cultural enrichment campaign. Traditional Guaramonte music is considered unsuitable for these fast-moving times. Nuestra Señora has decreed that only one category of music is suitable.
What's that?
Easy listening.
We've had enough. We're going back to the ship.
Okay. You show me your brown card?
Huh? What brown card is that?
The official exit visa.
Porra, deixa eu ver o bode aqui.
In Claramonte, defacing a poster was probably a capital offense. It looked to me like an early portrait of Orson Welles.
Ah, e o bode? Ah, o bode tá aqui, né? Eu tô com minha calcinha? Ah, eu tô com minha calcinha e meu batom ainda, mano. Foda-se. Fala, polícia! Alô? Travou meu jogo. Alô?
Hey, cheer up, guys. What's with the long faces?
Our pipe player has been arrested and
Nossa,
thrown in jail.
prenderam um gaiteiro, mano.
He never broke the law in his life.
O que aconteceu com o meu mano
Why
Miguel?
was Miguel put in jail?
For playing folk music.
What?
It's true, senor. He insisted on playing traditional Guaramonte music, even though it's illegal.
O Gugu Gaiteiro.
Why don't you try playing a tune to
Ô,
cheer
o Gugu
yourselves
Gaiteiro
up?
tá indo pros Estados Unidos, não tá não?
We should be looking for real jobs.
Ele me falou.
Earn 10 times as much down the mines. My cousin Ramirez was earning 8 pesos an hour.
Before he lost his legs in the accident.
Tell me about the accident at the mine.
There was an explosion at Teoculcan. 30 miners were buried alive.
They got some of them out though.
2 of them, including your cousin. And they left half of him behind.
Caralho, mataram o primo do meu mano, velho.
Would either of you guys care for a biscuit?
A dog biscuit, senor?
Are you trying to insult us?
No, really. They're good.
We'll take your word for it.
Tá, aqui essa pedra aqui.
Have you any idea what this is?
No, senor. Me neither.
Tá. Isso aqui.
Have you seen anything like...
I, the hungry chief.
Why are you carrying the thing around with you, senor? Don't you know who it is?
No. Do tell me.
It's Catlamoka, god of death and blood.
Tá, e a minhoquinha?
What do you make of this little worm?
Ele falou minhoquinha mesmo.
Sure it's dead. You think I'd carry it around in my pocket if it wasn't?
A minhoquinha.
Take a look at the design on this label.
I have seen that before.
Where?
There was a ship flying a flag just like that
When did you see this ship?
3 months ago. It was
3
here,
meses?
at the docks.
What was the ship with the condor flag carrying?
I don't know, senor. We weren't allowed near the docks.
That's
Pô,
right.
tem muita gente pra conversar aqui.
Usually
Tô
we
com
make
preguiça
the
de
ships
conversar
when
com
they
todo
tie
mundo.
up.
We play to the tourists.
Well, when the condor ship came in, we were told to go away.
Do you guys know anything about a total eclipse?
What is it?
It's like when the sun is hidden by the moon.
It's crazy.
My cousin Alfredo swears he saw it happen once. But that was after he stupidly
Meu
consumed a
negócio.
cocktail of peyote and antibiotics.
Tá, acabou as perguntas dos caras. Eu só ver um negócio, chat, coisa rápida. Se vocês me permitirem, é claro, né? Eita! Eita! KaBuM! Tá, calma aí que eu tenho outra coisa pra ver aqui. Gente, calma, eu tenho muita coisa pra resolver. Calma. Calma. Qual que é a minha senha? Calma, deixa eu ver se tem mais coisa. Calma. Tá acabando, eu juro. Calma. Pronto. Terminei. Demora? Não, foi rápido. Deixa eu falar com um homem. Ele vende peixe. Não tô no que detonado, cara. Me poupe,
Do
velho.
you have crabs?
No, only fish.
Por que ele quer caranguejo?
Nice fish.
Thanks.
If, by some remote chance, I ever need a fish, I'll be back.
Que é a estátua do deus da morte e do sangue.
Si, senor. It is very, very bad luck. That is Tezcatlipoca.
Escalipoca.
I know, but I don't believe in luck, good or bad.
You may not know, but you will.
The guy looked scared out of his wits.
Cara, esse cara é o do posto de Ipiranga, não? Da Shell. Pelo boné. Vermelho e amarelo é Shell,
Those
não é?
things are gourds, aren't they?
Si.
Hey, mind the footwear, lady.
Oxi. Tá, quem mais dá pra eu conversar aqui, mano? Tem a cabana, tem homem, tem mulher, tem homem. Tá acabando as conversas, na verdade. Vai, ixi, mas vai ter... Ixi, tem lá em cima.
Hi.
You wanna buy something?
No, not really.
I got cabbages. Buy a cabbage, senor.
I don't think so. I didn't come all this way to buy vegetables.
80% não tem idade pra saber o que é Shell. Ué, mas Shell não existe ainda?
Listen,
Existe Shell,
have
não
you
existe?
heard of Condor Transglobal?
No. Buy a cabbage. I'll give you a discount on bulk purchases.
I'm not into cabbages.
Não quero repolho, mano.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Aye, that's Catlapoca. Put it away, senor.
Senor.
Catlapoca brings nothing but evil.
Patrocina a Ferrari
Poor guy
até
was
hoje,
so
então.
freaked, he didn't even mention his cabbages.
Essa
See ya.
estátua deixa todo mundo em choque. Deixa eu ver na cabaninha aqui, na maldade. Será que o guarda me prende por desacato? Se eu olhar a cabana dele?
Inside the hut was a chair and a small table.
Ah, não tem nada pra fazer, tá? Falta 2 pessoas pra conversar, depois a policial ali e ali em cima na mina, né? Daí eu tenho que mandar a cabra comer um
Hi there.
repolho.
What have you got for sale?
¿Qué?
I said, what have you got? Oh, never mind.
Ah, falta falar com a mina. Neto Brea plus 32. Será que é o Felipe Neto? Vamos Zé plus 23. Tô com...
Hi. Lovely bread.
Okay?
Bread. Pan?
Si, pan.
Maybe I'll come back later when I'm hungry.
Tá, falamos com todo mundo. Vou falar com a policial e depois a gente tem que ir ali na mina, né? Eu acho. Porque morreu todo mundo na mina. Então os caras estavam escavando alguma coisa. Então eles que estão tocando?
George Stobart, well of all.
Quem que é você?
Mrs. Henderson. Boy, this is some coincidence.
Quem que é essa?
When you've been married to a fruitcake like Dwayne as long as I have, you stop believing in coincidence.
Quem que é
I met
ela?
Pearl and Dwayne on the other side of the globe in Syria. He was an army veteran who suspected he was working for the CIA.
Ai, a
But wasn't
mina!
sure. She was less obviously deranged.
É a mina lá do mercado da flauta, é verdade. Eu tinha esquecido o nome dela e do Dwayne. Nossa, é a mina do mercado da
Is Dwayne
flauta.
here with you, Mrs. Henderson?
Why, sure, I couldn't leave him home alone. Since Dwayne came back from the war, we couldn't bear to be apart.
So, where is he now?
Eu
We
tinha
ain't
esquecido.
speaking.
Why aren't you speaking to Dwayne?
Because he's an old spoiled sport sourpuss. I want to visit one of those old pyramid places, but Dwayne says he has to stay in town.
Right. And you don't want to go on your own.
Well, there's no point in going to the pyramid if there's no one around to take my picture.
Caralho, essa musiquinha tá muito
Is
boa,
Dwayne
velho.
still working for the CIA?
If he is, he doesn't know it. He's what they call a snoozer.
Don't you mean a sleeper?
No, this is different. He used to think he worked for them, but the psychotherapy cured him of that. What he
Os
doesn't
Minions
realize is
cantando.
that now he really does work for them. At least that's the way I understood it.
Deixa eu falar dela.
What brings you to Quaramonte, Pearl?
What takes me just about anywhere. The market.
You drove 2,000 miles to go shopping?
Shopping is my role in the economy of the great design.
Tá certo, né?
What do you make of this stone, Pearl?
Oh, that's pretty. What's that thing supposed to be, a rabbit?
I believe it's a coyote.
Well, it sure is cute.
Será que ela
I
vai
was
querer
surprised
comprar
she
minhas
didn't ask
pedras?
me where she could buy one. What does this mean to you, Pearl?
What cute little feathers. Why, if you had two of those, they'd sure make nice earrings.
This isn't intended for frivolous personal adornment, Pearl. It's a dart, tipped with a fast-acting, muscle-numbing
Vai
poison.
entrar na polícia, será?
Pardon me, I stand corrected, honey.
Tá.
Sometimes I get the feeling that communication with Pearl was like sending signals out into space. Maybe, if you waited long enough, you'd get an intelligent answer back. But it was a long shot.
Será que ela conhece o
What do you
Tsiki-Tsiki?
make of this statue, Pearl?
Ooh-wee, that's a spitting image of Dwayne's brother Sheridan. A little less body hair, maybe, but it's him all right.
E a minhoquinha?
Look at this, Pearl. A tequila worm.
Don't you bring that thing anywhere near me, honey. I swear I'll scream like a hog on a hog plate.
E o Eclipse?
Take a look at this news cutting, Pearl.
You'll have to read it to me, George. I left my specs in a gay bar in Santa Barbara.
Bar
It's
gay?
about an eclipse of the sun, which is due to occur in a few weeks'
Olha
time.
essa música, velho.
The government would warn us about these kind of things.
It's not dangerous or anything. Apparently, the best place to view the eclipse is right here in Quaramonte.
Oh, my.
Nossa, o Eclipse vai ter que fazer um sacrifício igual no Tomb Raider.
Catch you later, Pearl.
Ah, dá... Vou entrar na delegacia, vamos ver o que a policial pode nos falar.
I have done just as I have been instructed, Professor.
Ih, professor, quem que é?
With the mine closed down, there'll be no one around to observe your excavation.
Ih...
I have visitors.
Just remember what I told you, General. There's really no need to make a martyr out of that man.
Ih... Tá sus, hein, esses caras aí. Olha o sorrisão dele.
I'm sorry to keep you waiting, Senor. Welcome to Quaramonte.
Caramba.
Thanks. My name's George Stobart from California.
But what is this? An angel come down to earth.
Nicole Collard. Enchantée.
Enchanté. Oxi.
Pardon me, senorita, but I couldn't help myself.
Look, we'd like to ask you a few questions.
You've come to the right place, senor.
Esse general não vai
Tourist
responder, não.
information. General Graciento, at your service.
A cadeirinha do general, mano. Lá se brilhar plus 35, o anúncio me lembrou a inscrição. Kek. Amo você ali, continua fazendo lives nos divertindo. Obrigado, Lassi. Lassi, é isso? João, brilhar plus 25, Gas brilhar plus 8. Alan, como tu tá gostosinho, igual o vinho, mais velho, melhor. Sim, Thales brilhar plus 10, João Paulo brilhar por 1 ano. Gubotest brilhar pelos 27, tô curtindo demais essa sequência de jogos antigos. Eu também. Meu Deus, eu tenho de pergunta que dá pra falar com o cara.
This is the tourist office? It says police on the sign outside.
It is both, senor. I am a man of many parts.
I can see that, General.
Have you heard of a guy called Karzak?
Tarzak.
No, I never heard of him.
Ai,
I hear there was an
acidente.
accident at the mine a few months ago.
That's correct.
A lot of men killed, weren't there?
A few.
30?
Barely 1% of the working population.
Is it true there's a restriction on music in Claramonte?
Yes,
Só
there is.
30, né,
An
mano? 30,
emergency measure introduced by Nuestra Senora.
Folk music is a link with the past for some of these people. Take away their musical roots and what do they got left?
Easy listening.
You think easy listening could replace a musical heritage hundreds of years old?
Why not? It happened in your country.
Are there any ruins around the city?
Of course, senor. Claramonte has everything.
I have a friend who wants to visit an historical site.
Ronaldo will only be too pleased to
Ronaldo?
conduct a guided tour. When he's dealt with today's paperwork, of course.
Vai jogar Avatar, irmão? Vou. Eu devo jogar ele... quinta, talvez? Só que eu não vou terminar ele, provavelmente, porque eu vou viajar! Nossa, tá me espreguiçando. Foi mal. Vou jogar pra ver qual que é, né? Mas como eu vou viajar, é bem provável que ele vai ser engavetado, né? Dependendo da situação. Adoro a saideira, brilhar pelos 2 subs de presente. Aninha bunduda, tá? Brilhar pelo sub. Grazi brilhar pelo 150. Allen a calcinha, tá aqui, ó.
What do you think of these panties, General?
Oh boy, fabuloso!
Aí, o general
Yours if
gostou.
you'll tell me all you know about Karzak.
I told you, I never heard of the guy.
Ah, tem o The Day Before também, né?
I told you all I know.
You told me nothing.
Ele quer ficar com a minha calcinha, mano.
Who was the guy you were talking to when we arrived?
Professor Ubier, a visitor, senor, like yourselves.
Did you say Ubier?
Si, senor. Professor Ubier, a French archaeologist.
What's Ubier doing in Claramonte?
Researching our rich and glorious past, senor. The professor is planning an expedition to some Mayan ruins. He came to see me to get an excavation permit.
We've had enough of Claramonte and we want out.
Am I stopping you?
The guy at the docks tells me I need an exit
Cartão
visa.
marrom.
Ask Ronaldo. He'll make the arrangements.
Quem que é Reinaldo?
That's what
Aquele
he's here
velho?
for.
Nossa,
Have
tá.
you ever seen anything like this before?
That's a native carving, isn't it? Where did you get it?
We picked it up in the market as a souvenir.
E...
Take a look at this label.
Si, senor. Condor Transglobal.
Can you tell me where to find their offices?
No, senor. I never heard of them, and neither did Ronaldo.
Como é que ele sabe que o Ronaldo conhece ou não?
Are you sure you never heard of Condor?
Oh, yes.
The company is registered here in Claramonte City.
You are mistaken, senorita.
The musicians out in the square say that a ship flying the Condor flag was birthed here.
They are simple peasants. They will go along with anything you say in the hopes of parting you from your money.
Daniel Abra pelos 38, o Vasco cai ou não cai? Cai pra caralho, mano. Se Casimiro Miguel está triste, eu estou feliz, velho.
Condor is run by Karzak, isn't it?
Wrong again, senor. Karzak has nothing to do with anything.
É mentira.
Condor,
Tô brincando, gente.
whoever he is.
Do you keep a record of companies registered in Claramonte?
Of course, senorita. Unfortunately, all the records were destroyed by a flash flood.
Óbvio, né? E o
Do you
Eclipse?
know anything about the forthcoming
Eu não vou tentar dar
General?
comida de cachorro pro
Such
general, né?
things do not interest me, senor.
Ah, vou sim.
Would you like a
foda-se.
biscuit?
Are you trying to bribe me?
Well, every man has his price.
Mine is more than a dog cookie, senor Stobart.
Tá, acabou as perguntas do general. Então eu vou perguntar agora pro
I
Reinaldo, mano.
wasn't going to try investigating the passage while the general was sat there.
Ah, dá pra eu entrar ali, qualquer coisa pra... Ah, como é que eu vou tirar o general daqui? Ele quis minha calcinha,
Filing
então...
cabinet was probably locked.
Fala com o Reinaldo, mano.
Hi, I'm George.
Ó, tem câmera, hein?
Hello, senor. How can I help you?
Are there any ancient pyramids near Quaramonte?
Si, senor. But it's not very impressive. It's in ruins.
That's perfect.
Ah.
Would you be willing to give a guided tour?
Ah, o Reinaldo leva
I
nós.
can. The general would have a fit if I left all this paperwork.
Mas não foi o general que falou
I'm
que...
trying to get out of Quaramonte.
If I had $1 for every time I heard that,
Meu Deus, mano,
I'd be able
minha
to buy
cabeça tá
back
doendo
half
com
my
esse
family.
Never
fone.
mind that. What about my visa?
We don't take visa.
I didn't ask if you take a visa. I want you to give me a visa.
I can't help you, senor. I don't understand these things.
Tá, vou dar biscoito de cachorro pra ele, vai que ele
Would
come.
you like a gourmet dog snack biscuit?
I would love one, senor. But I would have a problem with my teeth.
Toothache?
No, senor. If the general catches me eating on duty, he'll knock them out.
Ele esmurra minha boca, é foda. Ó, o Tigres acabar.
Do you recognize this statue?
This can't take on. The night wind. Take it away, senor. That stone is cursed.
Tá. Bom, última pergunta do Eclipse.
Do you know anything about
Pô,
this
ainda vou ter que
eclipse?
conversar com os caras na
senor.
mina, né?
El general keeps me in the dark about most things.
So long.
Ela Huntress vai pros 17, cadê meu Natal? Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle, jingle bell, minha presença é tetel. Sou o seu Papai Noel, seu presente
Why
é
didn't you show him
piroca.
the stone?
I thought maybe he might know something about it.
Well, he does now, for sure. He knows we have it.
Vacilei. Nossa, eu vou
You
conversar.
came on a little strong with the general.
I was merely flattering his ego, Georges. Every man has his Achilles heel.
Maybe. But that guy's weakness isn't in his foot.
Tá na piroca. Cara, tem que dar a calcinha pra ele que ele sai dali,
Robino
mano.
tells me he's been seeing a lot of you.
We meet sometimes for lunch, a drink. After you'd gone back to the States, I was pretty lonely, you know.
Lonely? You must have been desperate. Couldn't you just visit the zoo or something? That man we saw talking to the
El
general was
Ubier.
Ubier. Didn't you recognize him?
I never met him, remember? The guy I called in Paris claimed to be Olivier, but he sounded nothing like the man in the police station. Maybe the professor really is innocent.
Now, it's too much of a coincidence that he's
Não,
here
esse
in
professor não
Quaramonte.
é inocente. Quem que botou a live na academia, mano? Botei a live na TV da academia e o cara me manda uma dessa. Irmão, você vai ser expulso da academia, a culpa não é minha. Quer
Would
comer
you like a
biscoito de
biscuit?
cachorro?
Gourmet dog? Have you been eating those things, Georges?
Sure, they're
Oh.
great. Guess what this is? Go on, guess.
It's wrought iron, probably from a chimney stack on an old stove.
Well, I suppose it could be. How did she know that?
My grandfather used to work in a foundry.
Aí a minhoquinha, ela quer minha minhoquinha?
Take a look at this, Nico.
That's disgusting, Georges. Why are you carrying it around with you?
I don't know. I just can't seem to part with it.
Eu já botei um vídeo seu na TV de uma clínica renal.
Take a look at this.
É, faz bem pro rim minha live.
An eclipse of the sun. Why the sudden interest in astronomy?
I found the cutting in Ubier's house.
Apparently, it's only visible from Central America.
A gente tá no melhor lugar pra ver a eclipse. E os
Take a
contratos
look
aqui, o
at this.
extrato do cara.
Mon Dieu. Where did you get that kind of money?
It's not mine. I found that statement at Ubier's house.
E a pedra?
Do you have any theories about this stone?
I think that design represents a dog, a Mexican dog.
So, this is the sacred Chihuahua stone? Sheesh.
Xiii. Tá, acabou mais uma conversa. Estamos perto do fim das conversas, eu acho. A não ser que a gente vá pra direita e tenha mais uma praça cheia de gente. Eu vou ter que falar com o pessoal da mina aqui, né? Tem como, mano. Eu preciso conversar com ele. Danilo, obrigado pelos 13. Iago... Iago, obrigado pelos 22. Obrigado, viu? Alan, decidi parar de apoiar streamers grandes, então parei de dar sub no meu amigo. E já fazem 22 meses que tomei essa ótima atitude. Calma, quê?
Hola, señora.
Hi.
We were
Meu Deus,
wondering.
eles estão muito no meu ouvido direito, velho.
I was talking to the lady, Chico.
Hi, my name is Nicole Collard.
Concha Garcia. How can I
Concha?
help you, sister?
The corporation I represent is considering a major investment in Quaramonte. Your advice, as the head of an obviously successful concern, is precisely what I'm after. My assistant, Mr. Stobart, has a few questions he'd like to ask you.
Cara, é um tec-tec na direita, é um tuk-tuk na esquerda. Muita coisa
Have you heard
acontecendo.
of a man named Karzak?
No? Who is he?
He's the reason we came to Quaramonte. We think he's running a drug ring.
Well, I hope you
Nossa,
find
eles estão
him,
muito no meu
but I've
ouvidinho
never heard
esquerdo.
the name before.
Nossa, eles estão muito no meu ouvidinho
Can
esquerdo.
you tell me about the accident at the mine?
Accident? It was
Eu vou inverter o
sabotage.
fone.
Somebody wanted my mine closed down for good.
Porque daí eu ouço eles na direita pra
Do
dar
you
uma
have any
variada.
evidence that the mine was sabotaged?
Not yet, but I'll get to the bottom of it. There'd been trouble at that mine for several months. The workforce was getting smaller every day. Someone had started
Pode
a
barulho é
rumor
esse?
among the men that the mine was cursed. Now the entire operation has been closed down.
É que senão eu vou gastar meu fone meu ouvido esquerdo, né, mano? Tem que
Where's the
gastar os
site
dois
of the
igual.
mine?
Several days upriver at a remote area known as Teoculcan.
Eu curcan.
Do you know Professor Ubier?
Yes. I understand he is about to embark on an archaeological expedition. He hired some equipment from me earlier today.
I overheard him talking to the general. I think they're working together.
What? If I'd known that, I wouldn't have hired out the equipment. Now, why would the general be interested in an archaeologist?
Será que ela quer comer biscoito de
Would you
cachorro?
like a dog biscuit?
Would you like a smack in the mouth, Chico?
Does this stone mean anything to you?
I think it is a spirit stone carved by a Mayan priest, no? I don't know which of their many gods it represents.
Mano, os caras devem estar jogando StarCraft ali, não tem uma explicação pra apertar tanto botão, velho.
Can you tell me anything about this?
É o Marine King.
It is Tezcatlipoca, the god of death and pestilence. That fetish would be considered by many to be a bad omen.
Ah.
Do you recognize the icon on this label?
Condor Transglobal.
Did the company operate here in Caramonte?
Yes, they ran an old container ship, the Mayan Princess.
Entregou a idade aí, foi pouco? Por quê, cara?
Do you know who owned Condor Transglobal?
I have no idea.
Carvão, gosta?
You see this? It's my lucky piece of coal.
What's so lucky about it?
I'm not sure yet.
Oxi. Ô, louco, que é isso? O tiozão levantou de calcinha. Não, toma a calcinha aqui então. Eu também tenho
Would you
uma.
be interested in these panties? They look
É
about
assim que eu
your
faço
size.
live.
They're your best line, Chico.
I'm serious. They were an unwanted gift.
Put them away before you get overexcited.
Caralho, o tiozão levantou de calcinha.
Have
Foda-se,
you
mano.
heard about the forthcoming eclipse?
I don't take much interest in things like that. One of the boys might know about it.
Cara, meu ouvido esquerdo ouve melhor que o direito, mano, eu acho. Vou falar com o cara de calcinha, mano. Vai aqui, né? Não, Nico, não. Vai embora. Eu cliquei errado. Não, volte aqui, por favor. Não.
Hi, good afternoon, and welcome to Consolidated Mining. If you are planning to stay in Quaramonte City, may I recommend the Consolidated Mining Experience,
foi embora, mano.
an interactive hands-on tour of one of our deepest mines, with talking tour guides available in 3 different languages. A tour of a mine. Well,
Cara, o
this
som desse
is
jogo
a
é muito
mining
ruim,
company.
velho.
What else did you expect?
Impressionante, cara.
Do you know anything about the eclipse that's due soon?
Me? No, senor.
Horrível, mano.
Do you know where I could find Senor Karzak?
No, senor.
How come you're not wearing any pants?
I feel more alert without them. Kind of perky.
Eu
And your
também.
boss doesn't mind?
She suggested it.
Falar com os secretários. Eu espero que não dê pra falar com os secretários, mano.
Are you looking forward to the eclipse of the sun?
Not especially.
Agora ele tá no
How do
ouvidinho
you? I
direito.
don't know. I've never seen one. All I know about eclipses is that you shouldn't try to view them with the naked eye.
Please, go away and let me get on with my work.
Ever heard of a guy called Karzak?
Can't you see I'm busy?
Cara, o foda desse jogo é que você é obrigado a falar com todo mundo.
The boss will be mad as
Porque
hell.
às vezes você vai ficar preso num puzzle só porque você não falou com o secretário, tá ligado? Pra resolver o puzzle você tinha que ter falado com o secretário. Daí eu sou obrigado a falar com
Ever
todo
hear of a
mundo,
guy
mano.
called Karzak?
No, sir.
E o
Did you
eclipse?
know there's an eclipse of the sun in a few weeks' time?
Yeah, Joe told me about it.
Olha lá o Joe.
He's having a party and we're all invited. Me and the boys are dressing up as evil monks.
Yeah? Cool.
Ah, último secretário.
Do you know anything about the eclipse?
Yes, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I heard it's going to be pretty spectacular.
It's in a few weeks' time, isn't it?
9 days.
Thanks. Ever heard of a guy called Karzak?
Não.
No.
Tá, agora eu posso ir embora. Ah, eu acho que eu falei com todo mundo nessa cidade, hein, porra. Agora eu posso ir pra próxima cidade e falar com todo mundo de novo, pelo amor de Deus. Deixa eu ver se tá liberado. Deixa eu meter um salve por precaução, né? Eu fiz progresso? Ah, foi pra 40, hein? Estamos quase na metade do jogo já, mano. Eu não matei a cabra ainda, mas eu vou matar em breve, calma. Vamos pra cá. Ih, vai dar pra falar com os caras aqui. Olha o professor ali. O marido dela tá envolvido com o cara. O Duane.
Hi, I'm George Stobart.
É calcinha?
What do you think of these panties?
Awesome. You wear them?
No, someone sent them to my girlfriend.
Thoughtful.
What can you tell me about the mining company?
The general closed down one of their mines after the explosion. Lots of folks lost their lives. I was lucky. I only lost my legs.
Não, movimento não, né? Ele perdeu as pernas.
Can you tell me anything about this stone?
That's obsidian. It's a volcanic rock which has cooled so fast that...
Yeah. Look, I'm not interested in geology.
Eu espero que dê pra eu botar calcinha até o fim do jogo
You
mesmo.
want to know about the carved picture on it.
That's right.
Then the guy you should talk to is the professor. He's over there, talking to the bozo in the truck.
Do you know what this statue represents?
Should do. I used to carve things like that to sell to tourists. But it scared people around here, so I stopped.
Do you recognize the design on this label?
Why, sure. That's the Condor Transglobal Shipping Company logo.
Do they have an office in Quaramonte?
No, but
Quaramonte.
they ship out from here.
That's what I thought. Did you see the ship with the Condor flag?
No.
But the dock is just the other side of the square.
Might as well be the other side of the moon.
E o
Have you heard
eclipse?
about the eclipse of the sun?
Sure, I'm having a party to celebrate it. Drop by.
Really?
Sure. Plenty of food, plenty of wine, and everyone's invited, except the general.
E o
Why
general?
don't you want the general at your party?
Because if he comes, he'll bring those damned music albums from the 70s.
Tá, caminhão. Deixa eu ver o
Stealing
caminhão.
trucks wasn't my style. It was a beat-up old wreck.
Vou falar com o meu mano... Não, vou falar com o Bier direto. Botar o pau na mesa e falar, ei, irmão, o que você tá fazendo aqui, hein? Sabrina, lembrar plus 13 meses você não leu nenhum. Deprimente. Agora eu li, desculpa.
Professor Ubier?
Yes? Who are you?
My name is Stobart. George
Foi
Stobart.
mal.
I thought that face was familiar. Remember me, George? Dwayne Henderson.
Hi, Dwayne. Just a moment. I have a few questions to ask the professor here.
Puta que
Does
pariu.
the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Yes, I know him. In
800
fact, if it
perguntas
wasn't
pro
for
professor.
Kazakh, I wouldn't be here.
What?
He's financing my expedition.
Ah.
Tell me about your wife.
Você matou tua esposa?
Please, I don't want to talk about her.
Não, fala pra mim, eu vou
You
mostrar.
shot her, didn't you?
No. I loved Carol. She meant the world to me.
Nossa, eu mantei.
What do you know about my girlfriend's abduction?
I don't know what you're talking about.
She was invited to your mansion in Paris.
Not by me, she wasn't. I haven't been home for nearly 7 months.
Cara, tipo Yoda.
Have you ever employed a Central American butler or
Só
servant?
viaja,
I've
mano.
never employed any kind of servant, monsieur.
Would you like a biscuit?
No, thank you.
You should, they're good. I can't do enough of these things.
Mano, ele fica comendo comida de cachorro mesmo.
Can you tell me anything about this stone?
Where did you get that?
That's my business.
How much do you want for it?
Ih.
It's not for sale.
Nossa, o velho ficou em choque, hein, mano, quando viu a pedra.
Can you identify this statue, Professor?
Oh, yes. Tezcatlipoca,
Tezcatlipoca.
the Lord of Darkness.
A Central American god, right?
A supreme deity. Tezcatlipoca means, literally, smoking mirror. There. You see the mirror?
Ele falou o nome do jogo.
The Mayans believed he could look into the mirror and see into the hearts of men. He was the wind which came howling in the night in search of victims, and victims they gave him by the thousand.
Human sacrifices?
Men, women, children, animals, anything that bled. The steps of his temple ran red with the blood of sacrifices. The Mayans have a legend that says he'll return one day. I hope I'm not around to see.
Amanhã ele vai ver a live do GTA. A live do GTA? Eles vão fazer uma
Do you
live?
see this label?
Yes. It refers to a company named Condor. What of it?
I traced that company here to Quaramonte. Do you know where I can find the offices of Condor Transglobal?
The company no longer exists. They went bankrupt recently.
Ah.
I have proof that you are
Eu
directly
tenho seus
involved
extratos
with
bancários,
Condor.
irmão.
I used them as shippers to transport artifacts to a gallery in Paris.
Ah.
Beyond that, I have no connection with the company, which, as I said, no longer exists.
Do you know anything about this eclipse, Professor?
Of course. It's not the reason I'm here in Quaramonte, but I'm looking forward to seeing it all the same.
What's your interest in the eclipse, Professor?
Oh, it's purely a layman's curiosity. History is my subject, not astronomy. But I've been fascinated by the movements of the heavenly bodies since I was
Aí
a
daqui eu vou
child.
pra onde? Será
I
que eles
wouldn't
me
miss a
levam
total
pra algum
eclipse for the
lugar? Eu
world.
tenho que tirar os guardas da prisão
Does
ainda,
the
né?
eclipse have some special significance for you?
For me? No. For the ancient Mayans, it marked the end of the Fifth Age.
Perhaps we should be celebrating.
Ah, no. The end of each age heralds destruction on a global scale. The fifth is the final age, ending in the total destruction of the Earth.
Take a look at this, Professor. What have you got to say about that?
Where did you get this?
Never mind that. How do you explain these withdrawals?
I left my financial affairs in the hands of my secretary.
Including the withdrawal of funds in cash from your personal account?
I trust Gwyneth implicitly.
And why Marseille? Why the very place my girlfriend was taken?
That's obvious, Stobart. We are both the victims of the same devious plot.
What plot?
I have no idea.
Ué. Acho que falar com o meu mano Duane agora, né? Vou mostrar minha calcinha pra ele.
What do you think of these panties, Dwayne?
Lord, hot stuff, George. You buy those for your girl?
No. A guy we knew in Paris bought them for her.
Oh, you're a threesome then.
Não é triângulo, cara.
Why are you looking at me like that, George?
Forget it. Are you still working for... you know who?
Who's that, George?
Gente, se Deus quiser, essa é a última pessoa que eu vou ter que conversar,
Oh,
mano.
nothing. Forget it. I confused you with somebody else.
Oh, I do that all the time.
O
Do you
general.
think the general was involved with Condor?
Hell no. And if he's a general, I'm a Buddhist. No, that fella's just a mouthpiece for the real power in Quaramonte.
So the general is nothing but a puppet?
He's like Pinocchio before he met the Blue Rinse Fairy. Strictly strings and wood.
Who's pulling the strings?
His mother. Better known
La
as
Presidenta.
La Presidenta, the dictator.
Does the name Karzak mean anything to you?
Sounds like a comic book villain to me, son.
He's the man behind Condor. And the rat who kidnapped
Cara,
Nico.
antes social até no jogo. Não, cara, é que eu já tô há 1 hora só conversando. Né? Eu quero resolver enigmas. É Pearl o nome dela. Esqueci o nome dela, eles chamaram ela de Senhora Henderson.
Did you know that traditional music is illegal in Caramonte?
Is that so? Seems reasonable to me.
No, really. The leader of the band in the square has
Ah, eu
been
tenho que soltar o
imprisoned
cara na
just
prisão
because of
aí.
the music he played.
I don't know who you've been talking to, but that fella, Miguel, he's an agitator.
What's the real reason the musician was in prison?
Handed out subversive literature at the mines.
Literatura
That
subversiva.
so-called general was waiting for Miguel when he got back into town. Marched him off to jail at gunpoint on a charge of inciting a riot.
I spoke to Pearl earlier.
Yeah? Did she mention that we had a kind of falling out?
Yes, she did.
She'll get over it.
Eles brigaram, né?
Did you drive all the way down here?
Hell no. Pearl did the driving while I followed the maps. The way she handled the wheel.
Será que eu vou ter que explodir a porta da prisão? O cara vai entrar atrás do caminhão, daí ele vai levar ele embora, os policiais vão correr atrás dele, eu entro na delegacia. Nossa, é
What's
isso.
in the truck, Dwayne?
Oh, just camping equipment. Sleeping bags and tents. Me and Pearl always hankered after a taste of the great outdoors.
Aren't you worried about camping out in the
Certeza que é
tropical
isso.
jungle?
We had a trial run in West Virginia. This'll be a breeze in comparison.
Ele fingindo que criou uma teoria, sendo que já jogou, mas eu não lembro de muita coisa.
Would you like a biscuit, Dwayne?
Oh no, those gourmet dog snacks bring me out
Eu
in a
lembro de
rash.
30%, nem isso.
They were on special offer. Pearl bought a whole crate. When I asked her if she was thinking of keeping a dog too.
Tá sem
she
som, os
just
caras
laughed.
falando. Cara, vê se teu fone o lado direito tá funcionando, porque às vezes é esse o problema, entendeu?
Would you like to borrow my lucky piece of coal, Dwayne?
What's so lucky about it?
Well, we made it to Quaramonte in one piece.
When you've been here a few days, you won't look on that as luck.
Tá, falta a última pergunta, nem
Do
tô
you know anything
acreditando.
about a shipping company called Condor Transglobal?
I never heard of it, son.
Tá, agora a gente tem que achar o Miguel.
There was a forlorn-looking guy asleep on the floor of the jail.
Forlorn.
It was Miguel, the pipe player. Hey, Miguel! He didn't hear me.
Ô,
It
Miguel!
was a forlorn... It was Miguel. It was one of...
Como é que eu acordo a porra do Miguel, mano? Vou mostrar minha calcinha pra ele. Não dá. Sai aqui, o que que tem?
The cell was vacant. It was one of the...
Tá, calma aí, chat. Agora a gente tem um problema. Como que eu bate com o bagulho no Miguel? Liga... E se eu pedir pro Dwayne ligar o caminhão?
Stealing trucks.
Pra fazer barulho pro Miguel. Deixa eu tacar biscoito de cachorro pro Miguel. Tá. Chat, temos um problema. Agora que eu terminei de falar com a cidade inteira, eu estou preso no jogo. É.
Have you met the guy who calls himself the General?
No, I haven't. Is he a real general?
I guess so.
Yeah.
He wears a lot of medals on his chest. The wrong side of his chest. At least for any army I'd ever seen. I
caminhão.
hear you drove all the way to Quaramonte. In a truck.
That's right. You would not believe the state of some of those roads. Makes me downright sad to think there's still some places you can't reach in an automobile. In this day and age, you'd think there'd be decent highways just about anywhere folk choose to go.
Catch you later, Pearl.
E se eu clicar aqui na interrogação? Estou na estação de polícia. E agora?
Hey, Nico.
O segredo é aqui na delegacia, então. O segredo é aqui. A gente precisa tirar os guardas da polícia. Como que a gente vai tirar o general da polícia, mano? Ó, cofre, tem um monte de coisa. Ah,
I'd asked him all I wanted to for now.
como que eu vou tirar os delegados da polícia,
I'd
mano?
like to visit your prisoner.
Condemned prisoners aren't allowed visitors.
Condemned?
To death. He is to be executed. Knowing my luck, I will probably have to shoot him myself.
Amnesty International is gonna hear about this.
Ô, louco, os caras vão matar o Miguelzão.
Miguel was arrested for playing the wrong kind of music.
Si, senor, he was.
And that carries the death penalty?
No, no, no. You think we're crazy? While being questioned, he confessed to being an anti-government agent.
So long.
Ai, meu ouvidinho direito. Que é isso? Deixa eu falar com os caras lá, amigo dele. Porque eles meteram o louco pra mim, né? Falaram que o Miguelzão só deu uma tocada e foi preso. O Miguelzão fez muito além disso.
Tell me about the general. You know, the guy in charge around here.
We don't want to talk about him, senor.
How come? No one can hear you. Well, only that old goat.
In Quaramonte we have a saying, don't tell your old goat what you don't want your wife to know.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
Now, I like most animals, but
Chat, eu tenho
experience
bode.
made me wary of goats, and cats, and dogs.
Eu não sei o que fazer, mano.
It was a portrait of La Presidenta. In Quaramonte, defacing...
Eu sei o que eu preciso. Eu preciso comprar repolho.
You change your mind. You want to buy cabbages after all. How many you want? 2? 3?
None.
Don't come crying to me if you die of scurvy.
He wasn't gonna be any help.
Chat, eu não sei o que fazer, mano. Eu tô preso. Peixe? Eu não quero peixe. Eu quero peixe. Já lá em cima, já falei com todo mundo no servidor inteiro. Como que eu vou tirar os guarda de dentro da prisão, mano? Pra eu poder explorar essa delegacia. O cara gosta de calcinha. Eu posso dar minha calcinha pra ele, tá ligado? Poxa, o cara foi embora?
It was Miguel.
Cadê o Obier?
Maybe I'm wrong, but you seemed kind of evasive when I asked you about what you had in that truck before.
Damn right I was being evasive.
Ah.
I couldn't talk in front of the foreign national, see? George, I'm on a top-secret classified mission for Uncle Sam. This truck is a rolling bomb. 400 pounds of nitrate fertilizer with a plastique initiator. They'll hear the bang in China. Gee, I'm really looking forward to this.
Vai explodir o
Is
caminho.
Miguel the reason you're here?
Pretty smart, George. I was supposed to make contact.
Ah, ele é
with him.
agente, né? Falou.
By the time I found him, though, he was in jail. I've been trying to figure out a way to get him out since then.
Viu como você tem que falar com todo mundo nesse jogo pra fazer progresso?
Man, George. All I need is a detonator.
How come you brought a truckload of explosives but no detonator?
Call me old-fashioned, but I say packing trunks is woman's work.
Oh!
I left the packing to Pearl, and I can't find a darn thing. Just hope she remembered to bring my denture polish. I'd sure hate to arrive back in the States with tar on my teeth.
Have you really never heard of Condor?
Of course I have, son. Matter of fact, it was old Dwayne's
Ah,
investigation.
o cara é da
that
CIA
scared 'em
ainda,
off.
mano.
Did you find any evidence of Condor's drug smuggling operations?
Drugs? Hell no! Condor was a cover for the illegal export of Mayan artifacts.
So who was behind Condor
É preciso mijar, hein, chat?
Transglobal?
It was registered in the name of Edan.
Did you get the guy?
I don't think he ever existed. Edan backwards spells Nady, Spanish for nobody.
Tá, deixa eu falar com a mina, ver se a gente consegue o detonador com ela. Vai que ela tá com o detonador, né?
Do you know where I could buy a detonator?
Did Dwayne put you up to this by any chance?
Hey, come on, I was kidding. Did you think I was serious?
I know what you boys are like when you get together and make plans. Dwayne says he could solve all of Will's problems if he had enough missiles.
Ué,
Did you know that the truck was full of
cadê o detonador, mano?
Whatever gave you that idea, as if I couldn't guess?
Your husband. He was exaggerating, wasn't he?
Sometimes I wonder how I'm gonna cope with Dwayne's over-fertile imagination.
Catch you later, Pearl.
Ué, e o detonador? Onde que eu vou conseguir comprar um detonador nessa cidade? Não é como se eu fosse... Ela não tem detonador.
There was nothing else I wanted to talk to Nico about at that
O
time.
cara só vende peixe. A outra só vende repolho. O outro é guarda. Essa daqui tá cuspindo. Nossa, essa daqui vende detonador pra caralho. Ela vende pão. Pão detona.
Do you recognize...
Por Dios, put it away.
Okay.
É esse cara que vende detonador. Esse cara vende detonador pra caralho. E esse velho, dá pra falar com ele, não?
That guy just didn't look like he was...
Caralho, chat, tô preso de novo. Que raiva. Eu faço um progresso e depois desprogresso tudo. Preciso ver o mapa e chegar às celas da prisão. Como me livro do general? Não, eu sei que eu tenho que fazer isso. Eu só preciso falar que alguém cuspiu na estátua da mãe dele aqui. E se eu passar batom na estátua da mãe dele, é zoado? Ah, não, eu ia ser preso, né, mano? E se eu der calcinha pro bode? E se eu passar batom no bode? E se eu desmaiar o bode? Cara, eu vou tentar dar minha calcinha pra ele de novo.
Hey, Nico!
Mano, como é que é? Porra, Deris já plus 31. Bode Teps já plus 47. Cherry, é isso? Já plus 17. Calma, aqui a gente é coisa de pensar aqui. Tem que bater o olho e pensar. E se eu tentar abrir o mapa aqui na maldade, eu vou ser preso?
Senor. Leave the child alone.
It was a computer monitor with some kind of outdated game displayed on it. I didn't have time to get... The safe was undoubtedly locked.
Cara, eu tentei, mano. E o cara não me prendeu, hein?
I had no need for junk.
Deixa eu tentar ir pra lá.
Going to try
Ah, o general tá aqui.
I decided to leave the...
Cara, fora que não tem mais o que eu falar com o general. E agora?
Do you have a map of Claramonte?
A map? I'm sorry, senor, but I don't.
What about the one on the wall?
Ah, that is an archaeological survey map, senor. Not suitable for tourists.
I'll be back.
Se eu falar com a Nico aqui e falar, Nico...
There was nothing else. I had nothing else.
Caralho, eu não consigo falar com ninguém aqui mais. E se eu dar minha calcinha pra ele de novo, na maldade?
He would have no interest.
Ah, ele tava bem interessado na calcinha antes.
He would have no...
I'll be back.
Como se eu precisasse tirar um policial da prisão, como eu faria isso? Eu mandaria um bode comer cu de curioso. Só que eu não consigo fazer esse bode andar, mano. Acabei de voltar, a primeira coisa que ele fala é sobre calcinha. Mas é que eu tô de calcinha no jogo.
The mournful look in that goat's eyes was beginning to depress me. In Claramonte, it was a portrait... I had nothing else to...
Ver se eu consigo comprar um peixe. Eu não tenho dinheiro, né? Cara, eu vou falar com o Duane de novo.
I had no more to...
Tem algum barulho pra fazer ali pro cara? Ô, Duane, liga o caminhão aí, mano. Sei lá, não?
I had nothing else. It was Dwayne's packed with high explosive. Reminded me of the time I was in Syria. But that's another story. Stealing...
Gente, não sei o que fazer, mano.
There was a forlorn-looking guy that was making...
Miguel, o gaitista. Como é que eu acordo o Miguel, o gaitista? Com a minha calcinha. Com a minha minhoquinha. Com a minha pedra. Mano. Foda, velho. É o
I
bode.
had nothing more to say.
É o bode, mano. Eu tenho que fazer o bode causar destruição aqui. Como que eu vou fazer o bode causar... Eu tentei dar minhoca pro bode? Não lembro. Bode essa fuceta. Dá minhoquinha pro bode. Ah, dá pra eu ir lá pro cais também. Calma aí. Calma aí. Temos coisa aqui. Dá pra eu ir pro cais. Eu não sabia. Calma, dá pra eu ir? Ou o cara vai me barrar? Nossa, o
can't
cara
leave
apontou a
without
arma
an
pra
exit
mim.
visa.
Caralho, o tiozão apontou uma arma pra mim só porque eu queria ir pro cais, velho. Que isso? Se eu der ração de cachorro pro bode? Pô, é o óbvio, né?
What was that?
Por que o bode tá falando comigo?
Coal? I would have preferred chocolate. Any flavor, so long as it hasn't got marzipan in it. God, I hate marzipan. You can talk. I mean, you're a talking goat. Keep your voice down. This is between you and me, right? Well, I guess so. I mean it. You tell anyone you've spoken to me, and you'll be cursed.
Por que o bode fala? Mano, eu já tentei dar tudo pra porra do bode. Porque ele não falaria? É, então, né? Não sei também.
The mournful look. I guess a mining company must use explosives, right?
Not in the accounts and ledger section, to my knowledge.
Ah, não tem explosivo aqui. Eu preciso de explosivo ainda, mano.
Do you have any kind of detonating device in stock?
Sure. They're kept in that cupboard.
Ué,
I don't suppose you have one spare.
I can't simply give you a device like that, no without a damn good reason.
The general has a chart in his office, which he was discussing with Ubier.
Perhaps that chart will tell us where they're headed.
Maybe, but I can't get anywhere near it while the general
relaxa,
and his
tira
sidekick-
aqui. Quer dizer, era? Ela vai liberar?
Hey,
Ela não liberou!
stay out of that.
I had nothing.
E minha calcinha?
She wouldn't.
Bom, aqui tem explosivo, mas tá na porra do armário. E se eu mandar um estagiário pegar na maldade?
Do you know where I could find a detonator?
Sure. The cupboard behind the boss. But she won't let you have it.
I'll use my charm.
This I gotta see.
É, chat, falhou, mano. Eu não sei pegar.
I'm looking for a
Oh my, that's dangerous. I don't know how you can work with explosives. That's why I work in and off. You know those things you use to remove staples? You know, staple removers?
Look, I sympathize, but I've heard enough of this crap.
Esse batom é bem sus. Gente, o que tem meu
It was
batom?
Nico's lipstick.
Não entendi. O que vocês estão falando do meu batom, mano? Batom sus? Por que meu batom é sus, cara? Nunca vi um batom na
Do you
vida.
keep detonators in the office?
I don't know. I'm new here. In fact, I started this morning. I don't have a clue what I'm supposed to be doing. Are you familiar with accounting software?
Olha a boquinha dela. Eu sou.
Yeah, sure. Which package are you using?
It's called Link. The guy who wrote it must be a lunatic. Every time I save a file, it plays a silly tune, and a little cartoon piglet dances across the display.
So what's the problem?
Well, none, I guess. But it's not what I'd expect from a professional accounting package.
Gente, eu não vou dar o batom pra ela. Por que que ela vai trocar um batom por um explosivo? Não faz nem
She
sentido.
wouldn't have been.
Ah lá. Não que faça sentido point and click, né? Mas... Ah, agora a gente tem duas opções. Dá carvão pra
She
ela.
wouldn't.
Dá a pedra pra ela.
She wouldn't.
Dá a calcinha, já dei.
She wouldn't have been.
Dá a contabilidade pra
She
ela.
wouldn't.
Dá...
It was my luck. It was a pair of red lace. It was Ubi. It was the label I. It was that.
Ela falou que quer o mapa. É, ela quer saber onde eles estão indo, mas ela mesmo assim não me ajuda. Eu não entendi. Ela falou como se ela liberasse o mapa e depois ela só foda-se, tá ligado?